Bienvenidos a la sesión hoy. Vamos a repasar la unidad 3. Okay, we're going to review unit 3 today. That's about where you should be. Definitely finishing unit 2 if you haven't gotten there already. Okay. So in this unit, we are talking about articles and adjectives matching the nouns. Okay, there's 4 things we need to pay attention to when we're doing this, and they're right here. So we need to decide if it's a masculine or feminine word, and then if it's singular or plural. So throughout the course, you'll find a couple of grammar charts. Be sure to use those. They're absolutely fantastic. They're exactly what you need to use, to go by, to be able to complete your questions. They're also found in that link to the course vocabulary. Print them out, use them, keep them right by your computer if needed. Okay. A lot of them also at the end of the chart will have like tricky words like trabajador or joven, something that doesn't quite follow the normal pattern. So make sure you're using those grammar charts. They'll help you with those tricky questions you might come across. Okay. So in this chart, we're talking about definite and indefinite articles. Okay, just to make sure we all know what those are. So a definite article means the word the. Okay, it's something specific, a very specific boy, for example, the boy, those boys, or the boys, the girl. Okay, if we use indefinite articles, that could be any boy, right? A boy, some boys, a girl, could be any girl. Okay, so that's the difference between definite and indefinite. And then we see that it's organized here by, first of all, on the side we have masculine and feminine. Okay, so usually the rule is if it ends in O, it's going to be a masculine word. If it ends in O or anything else like R or N, like trabajador or joven or something, it's usually a masculine word. Not always, but usually. If it ends in A, it usually is almost always a feminine word. Okay, so all that really means is you pick the articles that go with it, whether it's masculine or feminine. Okay, and we'll go over these more as we go through the lesson today. This is just kind of an overview right now. Okay, and then notice how in this chart, there's that dividing line, right? So now we have singular on top here and plural on the bottom. We have singular and plural. Okay, so it's going to match it in gender and number. So gender would be masculine or feminine. Number would be singular or plural, right? Los chicos or el chico. Un chico or unos chicos if we have multiple boys. Unas chicas, multiple girls. Una chica, las chicas, la chica. Is this somewhat making sense for you guys? Confusion still? This is a tricky concept for a lot of students to get. Okay, no responses. Is that bad? Does that mean you guys don't know? Is it somewhat making sense? I need some feedback here because we're going to go over it more as we go, but is the general idea making sense? The feminine, masculine, singular, plural? Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, so let's just look again at some practice sentences. So we have el estudiante. Okay, right there, that masculine article would tell you that this word is masculine, even though it doesn't end in O. Okay, a lot of them will be masculine. If it ends in anything but A, they're often masculine. Okay, it also tells us it's singular. We have one student here, the student, el estudiante. Okay, el chico, one boy, the boy. So the article here is matching my noun in gender and number. We have la chica, and here we've thrown in an adjective now. So la chica alta. So the word alto or alta means tall. The ending is going to change depending on if we're talking about something feminine or something masculine. So in this case, it's feminine, right? The girl alta, la chica alta. So it matches in gender, so they all end in A, and number. There's no S on the end of any of these because it's not plural. In this case, it's singular. We just have one, the tall girl. Okay, amigos. So now we're looking at plural endings. They're matching up los and amigos. So it's plural. Yeah, an S there. Las amigas. So this is the feminine plural. AS, AS. Los chicos. Again, a masculine plural. Las chicas trabajadoras. Okay, so here we have feminine, plural. There's more than one girl, so it's plural. So the article matches las, and so does the adjective. Trabajadoras, AS, to indicate that we're talking about a group of girls. Las chicas trabajadoras. Again, the article and the adjective here are matching in number and gender. It all matches. Okay, so this is the chart that focuses on the adjective agreement. Okay, the adjective is going to come after the noun. And you'll notice that the endings are matched as they're highlighted there. Same idea. You're matching in gender, which is feminine or masculine, and then whether it's singular or plural. Questions at all about any of this so far? Okay, great responses. Thank you. No questions. We'll keep going. Okay, again, some practice to look at here. So we have el estudiante serio, los estudiantes serios. So right off the bat, you should notice one's singular, one's plural, right? They're both masculine. They're both masculine. They both are taking the masculine form, which usually ends in O or keeps its original ending like E. El estudiante serio, los estudiantes serios. Okay? Difference between singular and plural. It matches all the way across. Okay, so you won't ever say, like, for example, los estudiantes serios, because then you don't have the middle one matching. Okay, make sure they match all the way across. Singular all the way across, masculine all the way across, or plural. El chico alto, los chico altos. Again, the endings are highlighted there for you to see that gender and number matching. La chica baja, las chicas bajas. Okay, the short girl, singular, and then in the plural form. Okay, so here's one that's a little different. La amiga joven. Now, notice that this ends in N, talking about a girl here, right? And then here again, the group of girls. So often if they end in like N or something, often you'll just use an ES at the end. And it's okay. You don't have to, you won't always change it to an A just because it's feminine. Okay, again, that's why those charts I mentioned that you'll find throughout the course are really helpful, because it does go over some of these words that end in N or R or E. Okay, so you just kind of have to memorize those, but mostly you just know you match the article here. If it's not clear, you just make it plural with an ES. So we have la amiga joven. So again, even though this doesn't, the ending doesn't necessarily match anything in gender, right? It's not necessarily an O or an A. It does match that it's singular. okay? And it could go either way, feminine or masculine. Some words could be either. Las amigas jóvenes. So again, we're matching definitely in number here because it's plural all the way across. Okay, here's another similar one. El chico trabajador. Los chicos trabajadores. So this one ends in R. We're just going to keep the same ending. Again, it's just singular, same word, but the fact that we didn't put an ES means it's singular here, right? El chico trabajador. And then in this case, to make it plural, we're just adding that ES, just like we did up here. And what really makes it masculine is that article, los. Los chicos trabajadores. So same word. What if it's a girl? In this case, we do la chica trabajadora, las chicas trabajadoras. So in this case, we do add an A on the end, or an AS. Okay, let's spend a few minutes going over the vocabulario. It's really important that you need to know this. Hopefully you're all studying at least 20 minutes a day or more from the vocabulary. That's what helps make all the Spanish make sense at this level. Okay, so as we go through this, I want you to repeat out loud on your end. Okay, no one can hear you, your microphones aren't attached, but get that practice in, just like we would if we were in a brick and mortar classroom. El horario. Okay, so we have a qué hora es? A qué hora es? What time is it? Or at what time is it? If you're asking when something is. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? A la or a las. And we're going to go over how to use time or talk about the time in a little bit. Okay, right now we're just going over the vocabulary of it. A la or a las. At something o'clock. Es la or son las. As you guys may know, es la you use with 1 o'clock. Son las you're going to use with everything else. And we're going to go over that. De la mañana. De la tarde. De la noche. La hora. El horario. Remember again, the H's in Spanish are absolutely silent. We don't say them at all, so leave those out. So I'm just starting really with this letter here. Hora. Horario. If you can roll your R's, that's where you give it one little flip. Hora. Horario. Menos. El minuto. Y cuarto. Y 10. Y media. De vez en cuando. De vez en cuando. Muchas veces. Muchas veces. A great question. He asked, are all the H's silent? Not necessarily. If they're by themselves, yes. But like in this case, we have one that's with the letter Z right here. And that's going to make the sound ch, just like it does in English. Muchas veces. Other than that, when it's by itself, it's silent. Muchas veces. Mucho. Nunca. Siempre. Again, if you can roll your R, try rolling your R right there. Siempre. Siempre. Todos los días. Todos los días. Again, remember how in the first unit we went over all of the vowels are very pronounced and they only make one sound. This is a great one for you to practice all those vowels. Todos los días. Todos los días. Casi. Casi. I love that word. That one's a fun one. Casi. Cuantos or cuantas. And now you should recognize if we're saying cuantas, that would be because we're asking about a feminine item like bananas, right? Cuantas bananas? How many bananas? Okay, so this one's going to change endings depending on if the item we're asking about or talking about is masculine or feminine. Difícil. difícil. En, in. Sometimes it means on as well. El examen. La prueba. It can mean test or quiz depending on how it's used, either one. La pruebita. Like a little quiz. Whenever you see those endings in Spanish, ita, ito, that's either saying something with like affection or making it really little. La pruebita. Sometimes you guys might have heard people say like, you know, when they're talking about how much Spanish they know, they might say poquito. I just typed it in for you, poquito. Right? Little, maybe some of you guys know. Poco is the word for like a little or like a little small amount. So if someone says poquito, it means really little amount. Fácil, fácil. I, so again, here's an example of where that H is completely silent. We're not saying hey, we're saying I. And this word is a really useful word and it means 4 different things, right? Just like in English, if we say there is and there are, is there, are there. So you use it both ways for questions or statements. I. Muchos or muchas. And now you guys can recognize that depending on the item we're talking about, it's going to change endings to masculine or feminine. Tarde, tarde. Temprano, temprano. Tener que, tener que. To have to do something. We're going to go over that one. Tener que. So the verb tener just means to have, like I have something. When you add the word que, it means to have to do something. To have to do something. El arte, las ciencias, like talking about classes here, school classes, right? La historia, la historia. So again, that H will be silent, and I'm just starting with that I. Historia. Inglés, el inglés. Las matemáticas. That one's a good one for vowels too. Have a lot of vowels in there. Las matemáticas. Contestar. Enseñar. And again, the nye here. So it's like we're putting a Y right after that. So here's what it sounds like if I didn't make that Y sound. It would sound like this. Enseñar. Enseñar. And that's actually a different verb. Okay, enseñar. When we put the Y in, it sounds like this. Enseñar. Enseñar. Nya, nya kind of sound. Enseñar. Llegar, or as you guys know, with the Argentinian accent, I would say llegar. That can make a Y sound or a sh sound if you're in Argentina. Llegar. Necesitar. Necesitar. Sacar una buena or mala nota. Sacar una buena, mala nota. What's fun about this is look at, you guys can recognize now all those feminine endings, right? We have an article here and we have an adjective in this case. And here's our noun, nota, which is grade, right? So you can see it matches now all the way across. Tomar apuntes. Tomar apuntes. Usar la computadora. Okay, this one I really want you guys to practice. Okay, I really would love for you to not say it like English, native English speakers, right? Like computer or computadora, right? Listen to that U. It's a little bit different sound than in English. U. Usar. Usar la computadora. Usar la computadora. Usar la computadora. La hora. Okay, so when we're talking about telling time, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So remember, if it's anything but 1 o'clock, we're going to use son las to say it is. Son las. And then we say the number, 3, tres. And in this case, it's 3:30, so it's halfway through the hour. So we can say y media. That's how you say like You don't really say 30 in Spanish. You don't say like tres y treinta. You could, but really it's tres y media, right? Media means halfway through. Son las 3:30 de la tarde, in the afternoon. At 7 o'clock, I have to speak on the phone. So in this case, we're saying it's going to happen at a certain time. So we say in front of it. A las 7. And again, we're using, notice how it's kind of plural? Oops. Notice how it's plural here? Okay, that's like if it's number 1 is the only number that's singular, right? 1. Every other number is like more than 1, right? So it's plural in a sense. Okay, so that's part why we're doing that. It's any other number other than 1, we're going to use a plural form. So las is plural, as you know now, right? A las 7 tengo que, I have to, we're going to go over tener in a moment here. Tengo que hablar por teléfono. Hablar por teléfono. Okay, it's 8 o'clock a.m. and I have to go to Spanish class. So we have son las 8 de la mañana. De la mañana tells us the time of day in the morning. De la mañana. Y tengo que, I have to go to Spanish class. Ir is go to or to go. Ir a la clase de español. Okay, before we move on, questions about telling time? What to use? When? The son las, es la, a las making sense? Okay, great. Great responses, you guys. I appreciate the feedback. Okay, so let's talk about that verb tener. Tener, tener. It's a really useful verb. You're going to use it like all the time, speaking Spanish, right? We use this word in English all the time. Okay, so conjugations, right? Conjugations. Conjugations are the changes of the verb depending on who is talking. So here in black, the black letters, we have the subjects. These are like our subject pronouns. They usually are in a sentence or start a sentence for us. Like I have to, yo tengo something. Okay, so the conjugation changes. You can tell the spelling or pronunciation also changes depending on who is talking. Okay, so let's just go over the subject pronouns. Make sure you know these really well. Yo is I. Tú is you, informal, so like with friends or family or little kids. Usted is the formal way of saying you, so you would use usted if you're speaking to me. Él or ella, or he, so he or she. We have nosotros, so we. If it's just a group of girls, like we, this group of girls, you could say nosotras. Most of the time you'll just say nosotros. It means everybody, right? We, boys and girls. Vosotros, so this is the form they use in Spain. Means like you guys, informal, so like a group of you guys, informal. And again, it could end in AS if I was speaking to a group of girls, completely like you girls. Ustedes, you'll use that one a lot. Ustedes, like you guys. Kind of like how we use it in English. Ellos or ellas, so they, a group of boys and girls, or they, a group of girls. So good, excellent question. That, if it's a girl and a guy, you will always default to the masculine form. The only time you really use the feminine form is like if it's only a girl or all completely girls, right? Any other time, it's pretty much the masculine form. So a girl and a guy would be two people, right? So like looking at this chart, this is just for singular, right? He or she. So we're moving on to the plural form, which would be they. That's how you would say it in English, right? If we said a girl and a guy went to a movie, they bought popcorn. So that's a plural, right? Plural pronoun there. Ellos. Ellos is the one we would use for a girl and a guy. Excellent question. Okay, and then we have here at the bottom of our chart, we use tener, or like the conjugation depending on who's talking, right? Plus the word que, plus the infinitive form of the verb. So that's the form of the verb before it's conjugated. Usually ends in er, ar, ir, right? Right? Okay. Questions about tener? Any other questions, concerns about tener or conjugating or subject pronouns? Okay, great. We'll go ahead and look at some of our examples here. So we have tener plus que means to have to. So we have yo tengo. Notice that was the conjugation that goes with the subject. I. Yo tengo que ir. And there's our infinitive. That's like the base form of the verb. Ir a la tienda. Yo tengo que ir a la tienda. So the biggest thing I want you to make sure you do is make sure you conjugate the verbs. Conjugate the verbs means use the changes of those verbs. Okay, so you wouldn't ever write yo tener que something. Okay, once you've given it a subject, you need to make sure you're using the conjugation that goes with that subject. So in this case, we have tenemos que comprar comida. Notice how I left out the word nosotros, which means we. It should be nosotros tenemos, right? Let's go back to our chart right here. Nosotros tenemos. Okay. The reason why I did that, you can do that in Spanish because you're only ever going to use tenemos with nosotros. You never would say like yo tenemos. Okay, that should hurt your ears. It hurts my ears. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Okay, it doesn't make sense. You're using two opposite things here. You're using the word I and then you're using the verb that means we have. Okay, so oftentimes in Spanish, these subjects will actually get dropped because technically they're not needed, because if I say tango, you know that tango is only ever used with I. So if I say tango, it means I have. Okay, often when we get down here to tiene or tienen, often we'll need it depending on who we're talking about. Once that's clear, then we don't always need to put the subjects, right? Like, so for example, with the example like the boy and the girl went to the movie, they bought popcorn. Okay, if I said in Spanish, pretend this is in Spanish, I said the boy and girl went to the movie, then I could just say, instead of they, saying ellos, like I'll say they have popcorn for this example. They have popcorn. Ellos tienen popcorn, right? You could say that, or you could drop the ellos and just say tienen, because we already know we're talking about the boy and the girl in that context. Okay, so sometimes you can drop those nouns, those subject pronouns at the beginning. Okay, tenemos only ever means we. Tenemos que comprar comida. Okay, here is your prueba for today. Okay, if you're watching this as an asynchronous session, be sure to complete the quiz and message me the answers.